And we are back. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankie Football in the building. I am your guy, the Thanos of the Cowboys YouTube universe. it is Brandon in the building.
It is him.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's how I feel because we have this little thing, right? We got this little thing of ours, this little fantasy football league that the YouTube guys are doing right now, and I'm sweeping through it, right? If you remember after the first Avengers movie where Thanos was just sitting on the throne and he just looked at the camera and then smiled. See, I got that first round back, so that's what I'm doing right now. I just looked at the camera and I just smiled.
Oh, okay.
After a full season of domination. So back to the reality that is the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have recently blown through, like Thanos, the New York Football Giants.
Right.
Like we would expect them to do. And we, in a fashion that you would expect from us, it's up to us to break down the film and break down your winners and losers. So in the fashion that we have been doing for the last few games, we have 5 winners, 4 losers, 3 honorable mentions, and then a 2-1 that we will decide on later in the video. So let's start with our 5 winners. Who would you like to talk about first, Chris?
Well, I want to go with the guy who was much maligned and cast off to the abyss, who was set off to the pasture where we thought we would never see him again and didn't really realize he was as good as we thought he was. And I want to say my first winner is Connor Williams. Connor Williams came back and played effective, strong, big-body football, kept out of the range with the holding penalties, and gave the offensive line some cohesiveness it truly, truly needed. With the loss of Tyron Smith, when you had to play kind of musical chairs at left tackle with Ty Nsekhe, who none of us really wanted to see out there, and out there with, first cousin Steele going with his maybe third or fourth start at left tackle. But Connor Williams is the steadying force in this offensive line. We've talked about it before, about how spoiled, privileged, and just downright ungrateful most Dallas Cowboy fans are. We figure if you're drafted as an offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys, you should either be all pro, Pro Bowler, and be getting fitted for your gold jacket by your 4th or 5th season. And at the end of the day, that's not always the case. Case in point, Chaz Green doesn't even belong in football, but we drafted it. Okay? Let's go with that. So I just love the fact that Connor Williams has always handled every adversity he's come with in Cowboy Nation, whether it be injury, setback or benching, putting people trying to replace him, and he always takes it in stride. He doesn't cry, he doesn't complain. He just comes out and plays great football and give him the opportunity. And this week, being reinserted back in the offensive line, he showed that. Connor Williams is my big winner for this week.
I agree, man. If you go back and look, and here's the thing about me, I don't mind changing my opinion when presented with new information.
Gotta have
a while back, absolutely. A while back, I was one of those guys that called for Connor McGovern to get his opportunity, and then he got his opportunity.
Yeah,
it didn't look good. It didn't look good. And I was presented with the new information, Chris. See, So I'm allowed to go back and change my opinion. See, I'm not going to plant my flag on the hill and just refuse to get off of it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't stubborn.
And die there on it. Yeah, right. That's the beauty of, as we do here at Franklin Football, because coaching matters. And we're going to watch the tape. Once we get new evidence, we'll say, okay, I see where I was wrong, and I'll change my opinion and say, okay, this is the best thing to happen. So that's why I think, you were able to say that with Connor Williams. I definitely feel, my hat is always off to you because, you're able not to be captured, be captured by your opinion. So that's great.
Absolutely. So Connor Williams came in, and after he took his lumps, and he came in and he fought, man. He fought and he looked good.
Yeah.
And a very clean game. Didn't necessarily have a ton of penalties. Did he have any that were on him?
Didn't have any penalties on him this week.
Yeah, and that's what you want. I think if a lineman has a clean game, then as long as he don't get his lunch money took, then the sky's the limit.
Well, Connor only gets his lunch money taken by elite bullies. It's not the average run-of-the-mill guys on the playground. He can handle them. But when you run up on you work on Gerard Hargraves from the Eagles, or you deal with Aaron Donald and stuff like that, even though he plays well against Aaron Donald, when you go with those elite upper level 1 and 3 Vita Vea and things like that, Connor's going to have his problems. But everybody has those problems. It's just to the point where he just makes some decisions. Some holds have been great holds by watching the tape because he's kept Rain from getting killed. But it's still a 10-yard penalty. But I think him being put on the bench, going back and working on technique, and it's just the blessing that we had some depth to try to find out some different things we wanted to know. And he may have earned him a couple of dollars from in Dallas.
Absolutely.
Hopefully in the offseason. But we ain't gonna talk about the offseason yet because we got a long way to go with that.
Absolutely. We still got a few more games to play. You know what I'm saying? Quite a few.
No doubt. Yeah.
So the second winner that I want to talk about, and this is the guy that I think was the MVP of the game, who I don't think got enough respect from this game, is Dalton Schultz. I think that Dalton, I think that he won the offense. If you ask me, caught all of the passes that were tossed to him. He was Dak's favorite target on the day. Well, I think CD was, but but
we'll go
Dalton's hands were, impeccable. His pass blocking was, amazing. He was a brick wall when it came to blocking. Before he would run off on his routes, boom, hands in the guy's chest. And if he had to stay in, he made a guy, eat some hands. It was an amazing day for Dalton Schultz. He struggled with pass blocking, pass protection this season. When we first drafted him, that was an area of strength. So it's great to see him get back to his roots, but for an area that he was originally drafted for.
Right.
And let me see.
But I think the thing with Dalton and I go ahead.
I believe he had
go ahead. You got it.
Like 60-ish yards. 8 catches around 60 yards. I think that's an amazing
and a tutty.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat
it. And the tutty, and the tutty in the back of the end zone. I think Dalton has really put himself in a stratosphere where he makes you make some real big time decisions about who you go with in next season, money wise. Because you can say to yourself, okay, Blake for the past 2 years, not 1, but 2 years has been hurt. And he's had a ton of potential, or you can see what he could do when he's healthy. Problem has been, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. But you've seen Dalton round out into that form of tight end that's going to be a good blocker, going to be a good pass catcher, a great safety valve, shows toughness. That was one of the things that really gave him an edge in a lot of YouTubers' eyes, a.k.a. Foots the King. He loved Dalton's physicality. So I think with the combination of him and McEwen, I think that's better than Sprinkle out there because I watched Sprinkle go out there, miss a block on something that could have been a great wide receiver screen. Something that a lot of the fan base is not in love with is the play calling with the screens, but that's for another time, another place. But I love what Dalton did this week. Gave me the middle of the field, was an open target, and that will make defenses kind of draw to work for those over routes that one of those passes that CD dropped in the game to be wide open, which will help us add another click to the offense. So hats off and salute to Dalton Schultz this week. Great game. Star up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Would you like to take our third winner?
My third one, man, for star up this week, man, is a guy, man, who we've been waiting to see all season long, and he's come back off the injured reserve, man, with a vengeance, and that's one Demarcus Lawrence. Kind of the un how can I say it? I want to say this the right way so people can feel me. He's been the best player on our defense before Micah Parsons became the best player on our defense. But Micah understands that the veteran leadership that Demarcus Lawrence brings, and him understanding that these kind of runs that we're on right now don't happen all the time, and he's able to rein people in with that leadership is great. But Demarcus Lawrence is playing out of his mind. For the last 2 games, man, he has been a force to be reckoned with. Guy causes the ball to be batted up for an interception for that vaunted secondary. Then he comes out with the run game and the great punch on the ball of Saquon Barkley for a fumble. He's been playing great football, man, and he has been a force to be reckoned with. Demarcus Lawrence has been that dog.
Absolutely, man. I think especially since this was Micah Parsons' first real quiet game of the season.
Ain't that crazy? 15 weeks in, and this is his first quiet game. You know, But the beauty of it is when you have a Hydra like you have, and it's in its full Super Saiyan form, it's hard to try to stop one aspect of who we are. Because if you try to quiet Micah, guess what? Here comes Neville, here comes Randy, and here comes Demarcus. It's a huge difference with trying to dress up a jackass and say, I'm running the Kentucky Derby, than when you go out there with Secretariats, because that's what you're running out there right now. You're running Secretariats out there with their defense, and Demarcus Lawrence is the engine to make that thing go.
Absolutely. Because you open yourself up for a wide variety of formations by having a guy as versatile as Micah, a guy as big-bodied as Tank, and a guy as fast as Randy on the line. You saw Micah Parsons basically playing DB on one play. Tank can on a NASCAR package move into the 3-tech. Randy, man, you put him on the end on those NASCAR packages. Pew! He's in the quarterback's face almost as fast as Micah, and he's years older than him. So having this Hydra, like we call it, it can be used in so many ways that our defense, even though we have a lot of guys that are either young or don't have much experience under their belt in the way of like Randy Gregory. He really hasn't played much football, even though he's I think he's like 28.
27, 28 with mad tread available on them tires,
with a 24-year-old football body. It's crazy.
Football body, crazy. Absolutely, man. Just want to run and play.
So to have that amount of versatility and at this point, health is something that a lot of teams do not have in December. We've just seen today where the Bucks have just experienced December football woes. They've lost a lot of guys to injuries. And that's something that thankfully we don't have to experience right now.
I mean, the biggest thing that we've had to fight with, has been COVID. We've had our injuries with certain players, and we're rounding into that portion, man. I think a guy who's going to get an honorable mention for us later down the road is not getting as much love and adoration as he should, because some of the national media has kind of written him off. But the way this team is rounding into shape, rounding into form, and coming into who we expected the defense is, because I really believe this defense is a year ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. I think this defense is good now, and I think it's going to be insane next year with the addition of that magical peanut butter and a full offseason for some of these guys, and maybe an addition or two. I think this defense is going to be crazy. But Demarcus Lawrence is definitely my star guy one of my star guys this week. Give me your 4-star guy.
Fourth star guy. This isn't a guy individually. This is a whole position group. We got to look at the whole defensive back unit. Cornerbacks and safeties.
Yes.
Because we rant and rave about Trevon Diggs all the time, right? He
10 piece. AKA right? 10 piece. 10 piece.
Right? You know what
10
I'm saying?
piece.
Exactly. It's rare that you see a guy have more interceptions than the number on his jersey, right? But this might be the best game that we've seen from Malik Hooker all season, right?
Absolutely.
Four defensive stops. Let me see. I think he was targeted twice, and stopped one of them. Had a break up there. So he played in the box a lot as well, but also played in the slot a good amount. You saw him play everywhere. He played in the free. He played in the box. He played in the slot. He was all over the field on top of getting that interception.
I think the defensive secondary as a whole, and we got to give them all the love. Trevon Diggs with his 10th interception of the year. Javon Curse, who has been, for many Cowboy fans, the unsung hero of that secondary, because we had no idea that this guy was out there. That he was out there when we got him. We thought he was going to be a special team guy, a camp body. This guy is an integral part of this defense. Demonte KZ playing the minutes he's playing, giving us the snaps he's giving us. Anthony Brown being the guy, the consistent, steady guy, even though he had the tough game against the Raiders on Thanksgiving, still out there playing solid, steady ball. I mean, Anthony Brown's playing so good, man, that we have almost written off the fact of seeing Kelvin Joseph all year. And that going into the season,
man. I'm sad about that.
Hey, listen, I look at one or two ways with that. Either he's getting worked in practice, and so he'll be better for next year. But if anything were to happen to Brown, I have no problem putting Kelvin Joseph on the field because I think he's been getting his tail whooped and practicing up that he can go out here and play. But thank God that Anthony Brown has been the guy he's been and been able to play solid. You got Lewis. You got J. Lou. J. Lou with an interception this week, playing solid. This whole, and Malik Hooker, like you said, being the guy who we hoped and prayed he would be coming off this Achilles. I mean, you have got to give it to the Cowboys front office for bringing 3 guys in off of injury who we weren't sure they were going to be able to give us a lot and been able to get us to the point of the 15th game of the season, 15th week of the season, and being able to have guys who you think can go out and play and be productive and do their thing. We were hoping the beginning of the year, hey, KZ play half of the year, he get hurt, Malik Hooker come back and play the half a year because he hadn't been hurt. But we've gotten to the point now that both of these guys have been able to play and put good film out and play good, solid, steady football. It's giving this defense a totally different look where you could, if you want to, take Neal off the field, drop Kurtz down in the box next to Michael Parsons. You have KZ over the top to be the Roman free safety and strong. It's just a beautiful thing the secondary is doing, man. And they definitely deserve, a thumbs up this week.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's to the point now where even though Keanu Neal was was looked at as being the most versatile free agent signing, it's almost like he's an afterthought right now. Because you have so many of these other guys who are jumping off the page, like a Curse Kazee and recently Hooker. Keanu Neal isn't at the front of everyone's mind now because you have these other guys who are performing at the linebacker position. Leighton Vander Esch last week just had an amazing game. Keanu Neal isn't the star at his position as it stands right now because A, Micah is Micah, and B, the other guys are taking the attention as the free agent sign.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good mix with the guys, with the new guys, the additions of people coming off injury, and you still haven't got the full rotation in so many different areas. But I think with the secondary, with Donovan Wilson coming back, you're going to be able to get him back into the mix. And so I just think this defense is really rounding out, and we'll be able to go later on. And I want to kind of do a comparison with me and you maybe next week, or maybe on one day we just sitting around and we just put it together and compare this defense to another defense. And I want to see how similar you think they are. It's older Cowboys, but we'll go back and we'll look at it because I see a lot of similarities with it. And I think you'll enjoy it. That'll be something we'll have a little fun with. And I hope everybody enjoys it when we put that together. Give me your last guy, man, for your fifth star, man.
This one, once again, is not a individual. This is the running game, man. This is the combination of Zeke and Tony.
No doubt.
The Cowboys were able to impose their will on the Giants. And Zeke didn't have to carry the load by himself, man. Tony, although they split the load almost 50-50, Zeke didn't have to be the star. Tony had more yards with less rushes. Tony had 12 rushes to Zeke's 15, 14, somewhere around there.
15, yeah.
Yeah. But they were both also able to do it through the air, you know. I think they both had about 15 or 20 yards through the air each, you know. So it's great when you can distribute the workload to your running backs so evenly through the land and the air, you know. So that goes.
I think what they were able to do. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Because it matters. Coaching definitely matters. And you're right about the running game. The running game, I just think you were able to really get the outside runs in effect. And I think that's what we've been seeing this offense over the last 3 to 4 weeks, kind of rounding the form, kind of like playing spring ball in some cases. Like, okay, I'm going to try this and see if this works. Okay, this isn't working right now. Well, let me try this. So we're trying more outside runs, getting guys in motion on the move and getting our running backs to the edge. And you've seen it. Lean almost popped. Tony almost popped one again this week. He was a shoestring tackle away from taking on another 60, 70 yards to the house. So I think this running game is going. Zeke running strong, getting the pulling Zach Martin coming over, pulling across the top, catching another block and getting him down the alley. I just think this running game will be in full form again. And once that running game gets back into, you have to respect it. Then has to happen. You can't drop 6. You can't drop 6 in the coverage. You're going to have to go back man to man because defense is saying right now, hey, check this out. I'm not playing you man to man because playing you man to man, you're going to kill me. I'm going to zone it up. I'm going to drop back. You're going to have to pick it and you're going to have to methodically work it downfield because they believe, being that we are one of the more highly penalized teams in the league, we'll make a mistake to push us back and stop us from scoring. So I just believe that this offense is rounding into shape, and the running game is a huge part of it getting to that point. No more musical chairs with the offensive line. Get everybody healthy. Get me on a 6-game run, starting with the Arizona game, and let's go and take this thing in. But definitely a great showing this week from the running game. I loved it.
Absolutely. I definitely agree, man. And I think that's going to be that first step to getting rid of that air of staleness that is kind of surrounding Kellen Moore when it comes to the media. Because for the past few weeks, when it came to what people think of Dak, there's also the air surrounding the OC where people think that, his game plan may have gotten a little stale. And that starts with the ground game. You have to establish that so that way people can respect your play calling and not have it be predictable and not think that it has gotten stale.
I think that's what we on that 6-game stretch when we were able to do so much, we failed to realize these were the times when Zeke was getting into season form, having a couple of 100-yard games, 80, 90 yards rushing, and that's what made people have to kind of respect it a certain kind of way, which opened up the passing game for us to really kind of just do what we did. Up until the point where he got hurt, that's when things started kind of going down. He got hurt. Tyron got hurt. You know what I'm saying? People were missing because of COVID. Rain got hurt. So, hey, we went through our bumps and bruises. COVID had its little outbreak on different areas. So I just think great, fine. That happened. Offense will be back, churning and burning. So the running game was great. So we gave thumbs up to Big Connor, thumbs up to Dalton Schultz, big thumbs up to Demarcus Lawrence, huge thumbs up to the secondary, and lastly, the running game. Give me your thumbs down, man. Who didn't you like this week?
I think that specifically when it comes to his pass pro, I think Tyler Biadasz didn't have his best game. When it came to protecting Dak, Tyler was getting his lunch money taken a little bit, man. You saw him on his heels a little bit. I think that he did, better when he was able to get some push when it came to the run game a little bit and run protection. But in pass pro, he definitely didn't have his best game. I think that of the 5 linemen, 6 in some cases, really, I think that he probably had the worst game of all of the block.
Well, I mean, it's this will be a down one for Tyler Biadasz. I am the head. I am the sole member, president, and charity and distributing charity fund collector for the Keep Tyler Biadasz at center for this football team. Everyone is expecting Tyler Biadasz to be like the great Travis Frederick in year 1.5. I believe he still has room to grow. My cohort and my constituent loves another guy who's in college right now. But I am a strong believer that Tyler Biadasz will be continuing to get better. This is a down game for him after about a good 4 or 5 game stretch of him playing really, really well. So I understand you're disheartened with his play. I look at it as a bounce back game. He'll get right this week. He's got another big challenge this week dealing with those 2 big defensive tackles inside for the football team this week. So he'll probably bounce back pretty strong.
Absolutely.
My thumbs down this week is the guy who had the most catches. Well, but he had the most targets, but he also had the most drops, and that's Mr. Cedarian Lamb. I love CD, love him with all my heart. Love Yak Lamb, love that. But he has had a bad case of the drops. Missed on an over route that would have been a huge gain in the game. Wide open, put his hand on it. Being the father of a young receiver, if you touch it, you got to catch it. We do push-ups and stuff like that when we drop. So that's the deal with that. I think he dropped a couple that he should have had. I thought he had a terrible of the things that's disheartened me the most. It wasn't the drops. It was the lack of effort and heart on the blocking play that turned around and ended up Rain getting hit from the back because he had the ability to shield the defensive end or at least run him up a little bit to give Rain the time to throw the ball. He didn't do that. And so my thumbs down for this week with Cedarian is the drops, his lack of concentration, and kind of him not being on the same page with Rain right now. And that's concerning for me.
Now, here's my kind of retort to that. Do you think that in a lot of these situations, they aren't obviously CD is the guy that they're force feeding right now. Dak has a great relationship with CD. And Amari Cooper isn't really the guy that they are feeding targets to in a lot of cases, as you can see by the last, couple games. So do you think that they need to establish a larger relationship with a guy like Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup to where CD develops a case of a drops in the game, he can lean on another guy? Do you think that that's something that they need to look to?
This is my feeling. And it was a great point that was brought up on Skywalker Still's show earlier this week. Matter of fact, on Monday. And I believe that at this point in the season, you need an experienced route running monster in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Because what that will do is that will give you a guy who can deal with the middle of the field and give Rain the ability to have two options in the middle of the field compared to having just one with Dalton Schultz. Amari in the middle of the field breaking tackles is amazing. The beauty of Lamb in the middle of the field is that Yak Lamb can go all the way to the house with it. I think the one guy that we're missing, and I never thought we would feel this way about him, is having Cedric Wilson. If you were to put, just go 10 personnel, Cedric Wilson on one side, Amari Cooper on the other side, inside the slot, put Michael Gallup on the outside and Cedarian Lamb on the outside, that gives you a four-wide set that's nightmarish. We've seen Cedric Wilson make guys miss in the middle of the field and grab air because of his footwork. Amari in the slot with his footwork working against a lesser guy is a problem. So I think to give this offense a little bit of juice, I think moving Amari into the slot might be the move, and moving CD back outside, because at the end of the day, he is an outside receiver. The only reason he's playing inside the slot is because we're like, well, you got Amari Cooper on the outside. Why would you put him in the slot? But all these guys are interchangeable, and that's what makes them so deadly. And I think moving CD outside for a little while will kind of work out and help him.
Okay. Now, but here is the thing to that, though. Dak hasn't really been feeding Amari besides the game at Washington. Besides that, it's been maybe 2 targets here, 3 targets there. He gave him some targets in Washington, but I would argue that maybe 2 of those incompletions were nigh uncatchable.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the offense has been off because of lack of confidence with the offensive line. I think Rain has not felt comfortable with his offensive line for about 5 weeks, and him trying to overcompensate for his own injury, which he's coming back off, but just not having the complement of offensive linemen that he can feel he can trust is going to do what they're supposed to do. Once he came back off that calf strain, Connor Williams is on the bench, so he's working with Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern out there getting his tail whipped. And then you turn around and you put Steele over there, and he reverted back to linoleum and turnstile against Denver. So I think that has Rain thinking, thinking a little bit more than he had in the past in those first 5 or 6 weeks. So like I said, you get Tyron healthy for a 5-6 game run with a Connor Williams, with Tyler having his one bad game, and having the ability to rebound, and the offensive line being where it's supposed to be. I believe this team goes as the offensive line goes. It always has been that way. If the offensive line is healthy, the running game clicks. If the running game clicks, the offense is unstoppable. Now you complement that offense with this ferocious, tenacious defense, and that just sets you for a great run that I'll play anybody, and I hate to take one of JG's statements, I'll play anywhere. I'll play you in the parking lot. I'll play you on the moon. I'll play you anywhere because I got all my dogs in place.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, man.
Okay.
I don't hate it at all. I just think that in these times where CD is struggling with ball handling, corralling the ball in, I think that you have to look towards other guys, whether it's Gallup, Lamb. Obviously, they looked at Schultz and it worked.
Gotcha.
But that is something that I would love to see in the past game.
Okay.
But yeah, man. How many losers was that? That was 2, right?
That's 2.
Do we have 2 more?
I don't have any more losers. I have no more losers. I have my honorable mention guy who I think deserves a ton of credit, but I'm gonna see who you give yours to first.
Guy that deserves a ton of credit. I don't see why people give Dak a lot of crap for this game. I think that this was a great game in which the game did not need to be on his shoulders.
Okay.
200 plus yards and a touchdown. Sure, the defense did give him a lot. But yeah, man, the game did not need to totally be on his shoulder. And I think that this was a good outing for Dak, in which quarterbacks as a whole didn't necessarily go out and blow the world away.
It's December football, man, and we cover a football team with a fan base that, if a guy throws 75% completion of his passes, he has a terrible day because they personally in their mind think we're playing for style points. And we're not. This isn't college football. This isn't LSU having to beat directional school Sisters of the Blind State by 52 points for style points. We are in the position of getting better, working on different things out in the offense, getting the defense going the way it needs to go, and collecting dubs. And that's what we've done. Yes. We're on a 3-game winning streak, and my quarterback completed 75% of his passes. Did he have an interception? Absolutely. Was he being greedy? Without question, okay? But he also understands you got a fan base that wants you to be greedy. We want 40 burgers on everybody because we came here thinking that the offense was going to lead us. Just so happened, the defense showed up, what we've been asking for the past 5 years. And the defense is being crazy. Man, if you want to think about it, this defense, right, for the last 3 weeks, right, you went to New Orleans outside of a garbage touchdown late, right? You gave up 13. You gave up, 13 points? You gave up 6 on Sunday, and outside of a pick six, you gave up 13 a couple weeks ago. So this defense isn't giving up a lot of points. They're keeping people under 17 points. There was a time that we weren't winning games unless we scored 30 points. And the last 3 weeks you've won football games, you hadn't had to score 30 points to win. Just think about that. Think about that. There was a stretch that the Dallas Cowboys were not winning football games unless they scored 30 points. You go 3 weeks and 3 tough environments where you watch the New Orleans team that just shut out the GOAT, right? Shut him completely out. Be totally dismayed and dismantled by this Cowboys offense and being to the point where we beat them, came right back against the football team that beat the GOAT. So 2 of the teams that Tampa Bay has lost to, we pretty much were mad that we didn't blow them out by more. You follow me? Now, this is how good this football team is.
But also at the same time, you have to consider this. The same Cowboys team that people are considering in the slump were averaging, 26? It's 25 point, some arbitrary number, points per game. But when the Cowboys were considered good or elite, we were averaging 28 point arbitrary number points per game. So the points per game haven't dipped by a dynamic number. The defense is still performing amazingly, even better if I could argue.
Right. I mean, when you were scoring 29 points, your defense was middle of the pack. Now that you're scoring 24 to 25 points, your defense is definitely top 10. So, man, listen, hats off, as always, to Ray Dakota Prescott, playing well. I thought he had a good game. I think, if you don't have those 3 drops by CD, you don't have the ball, get caught up in the air, we gallop down the sideline, the numbers are better, and you feel a lot better about the team. But at the end of the day, you went into that environment and did what you need to do against a divisional foe. Handle them and get out of there unscathed, unhurt, and with a dub. I love it. My honorable mention, man, is for the guy, man, that's been the most maligned guy on this whole Cowboys trek this year, and that's my head coach, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy said a long time ago, for him to get his Super Bowl 10 years ago, he said he had about 96, I want to say like 95 guys to help him get that thing done. And this has been a revolving door in so many different areas. You turn around this week, you find out late that my boy Trigger Trey is down. And I think Osa Digizua was down because of the COVID, right? He's down.
Yeah.
You turn around and he's down. Guess what you do? No problem. We bring Neville Gallimore and we bring my boy Justin Hamilton up, and we're ready to dance and boogie, man. And he's clicking people in the right spots. He's letting his coaches coach, but he's also able to keep this thing cohesive and strong. The week before, when you went to Washington, you didn't have a full and healthy Ezekiel Elliott. Hey, you bring a guy up off the practice squad, bring the Hardy kid off the practice squad. He comes and gets his first carries. You turn around, you get Corey Clement. He comes out there, performs for you, helps you get a win. He's fitting pieces all around, and the team is believing as one body and one unit. And that goes back to a head coach that doesn't have to say, I did this, this, and this, but he promotes his guys to do what he's supposed to do. Hey, Joe Philbin, who we going to get on the line? Who you got? Okay, you going to do that? All right, I'm cool with that. Hey, Joe Fossil, what we going to do? And listen, I ain't too feeling about the kicking game. I give you a couple weeks, but you got it under control? All right, I got you. You turn around here, you talk to Kellen. I got to tweak a few things. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit later, but I'm still let you run it. DQ, you're doing your thing, baby. So it's across the board, man. This team is showing you that it can work with the parts as a whole, and he can push the right buttons to make this thing work. So my hat goes off, man, to my head coach, Mike McCarthy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think that he has definitely, especially in the last few weeks, silenced a lot of his doubters, especially those who thought that he, especially because like the Hard Knocks, distractions, that he was just a talker. He silenced a lot of his doubters, man, and it was well deserved.
Listen, man, and we've said this before, and we're gonna give it towards you like this. If you want to understand this thing on a real level, if you're a Cowboy fan, because you're always on the media, because if we do good, we're not as good as we are. If we do bad, we're terrible. If you don't come to YouTube and sit down and follow guys like the long list of guys, I'm talking about the Joe Rods, the Jay Tucks, the Law Nations, the Vosh Lombardis, the Space Cowboys, guys like us, and just sit down and listen, Landlord from Alabama, cats like that who really have bought in to look at the nuances of this football team, you will be lost and not see how special this season has been. We are 10-4 right now with the opportunity to go roughly 13-4 in a season where last year this thing was over before
we were talking draft time at Halloween.
Listen, man, we were sitting we were walking around here talking about right brick on my brick before daggum October. We was trying to figure out a way to flip a pick and get extra picks to do what we need to do, and we turned that around in the season.
Did it.
We did it, but we wanted more than what we got. We was really trying to turn this thing into some Pablo Escobar and flip the pack. But we were doing our thing. But as always, man, you just got to come here and listen to guys who have a pulse and have a desire to really understand the Dallas Cowboys the way we do. But more importantly, man, if you've spent this long with us, we've been talking for about 35, 45 minutes, man. You got to like us. So hit the like button, man. And if you ain't already subscribed or somebody clicked you over to us, man, to talk about what my man BH and me, man, then make sure you subscribe, man. But more importantly, man, hit the comment box. Tell us, man, what you see. If you're going to mess with us because we had taped it a while, you're absolutely right. I've been grinding. Brandon's been enjoying the throes of being in holy matrimony and loving on his wife, the first lady of Franklin football, man, and we understand that, man. But definitely drop us a comment, man. But we will be back with you in about 5 to 6 days, man, dropping another link, another video about what we see in this next game against the football team, trying to go for our 11th win and cement winning the division for the Dallas Cowboys, man. Listen, man, I'm your man. Set it off, Chris.
And I'm Brandon. This has been Franklin Football.
And you are BH?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we about to get out of here. Peace.